This is The Insight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to The Insight. Tonight, as it is our revered norm here on The Insight, to furnish you with deliberate insights on various current affairs issues. Tonight, we are diving into a discussion on the state of the nation, where a lot is happening, from the KEMSA scandal, which led to the firing of former PS Mburu, among other stakeholders within KEMSA, leading to a very critical question tonight on The Insight. What is the status of corruption, which has been a major economic setback to Kenya's developmental agendas since independence? Ladies and gentlemen, the finance bill is also here with us for a debate, as government is certain this is the sure way to go, isn't it? Well, gas and fuel levy, amongst other short stories. The Insight begins this very moment. And of course, as it is our norm, we would not do this alone. I have with me two guests joining me on The Insight tonight. One is a lawyer, Eugene Owadi, is joining me for The Insight tonight. Eugene, thank you so much for finding time for this discussion. And thank you so much also. Teddy Mushiri is also joining us here on The Insight. Teddy Mushiri is also a political and economy analyst joining us on The Insight tonight. Thank you so much, sir, for finding time for us. And the discussion, of course, begins at this very moment. And if I can maybe begin with you, Mushiri.
Yes.
Because we're talking about the state of the nation.
Yes.
And I want us to start with the cost of living. Generally, what is your assessment of the performance of this government and being a key promise, the campaign promise on lowering the cost of living? What is the assessment, your assessment of this government, its performance, to ensure that they actually meet this basic need of the Kenyan people?
Thank you so much, Eugene, for having us today. Yes, on the issue of the high cost of living, it's a reality. It's a reality of the day. The cost of living has hit everybody hard, but you also have to understand that it is about it's a policy issue, which it was a policy issues. It was a policy issue which was implemented by the other regime, but that's where we are coming. That's where the government came in and is trying to correct all the wrongs that were done. And you have to understand this: the wrongs that were done cannot be corrected in one day or 1 month. We are almost 7 months in, and we are laying all the policies down, so that we can at least move the economy and try and bring the cost of living down. And that's what the president has said. He's diverting his policy is diverting from subsidizing on consumption, and he has taken the deliberate action to subsidize on production, meaning that what he wants right now, he wants a long term. He actually wants a long-term science and outcome in all this. But at this point now, if our competitor there is no distraction and we give our president ample time, he will deliver on his promises.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there is no distraction from the competitors, then the government will surely
Yes.
but you've not given me the government's performance in a scale of 1 to 10. On the government's performance. Where is the government according to you?
I'll give them a strong 8.
Okay.
A strong 8 up to here, because they have shown by all intention and purposes that the president has shown that he is thinking about the common man.
He is thinking
and taking action, so that all this high cost of living can be approved for the burden of cost of living can be removed from the common man, and so that he can have a productive life and you have productive economic activities going on.
Owadi.
Yes.
Lowering down the cost of living was a key campaign promise of the current regime through the bottom-up economic model. Maybe you can tell us your assessment of the performance of this government. so far?
Well, from where I sit, Eugene, first off, thank you so much for another chance to be on this panel. The second issue would be, I'm quite perplexed at why we would talk about aid and distractions, when currently we all know that there are no distractions. A month back, the government was complaining, and now there are no mandamanos. So from my side, things are tough. Things are very, very tough for the common citizen. This government, I'd give it a 4, but based on what they've shown, not on any other ground, I'd give them a 4 for now, for trying. Of course, they haven't tried that much. They've been so much into politics, which is not healthy. Some of us think they're much focused on 2027, other than helping the common wananchi. The prices of basic goods are high. We all can feel the pinch. Even the 2 kg sugar right now is around 450. My friend is aware, or he should be if he's not. The cost of flour, you are told within the first 100 days or 50 days it should be less than 100 bob. Right now, where is it? It's still at 200 and something. And the bigger problem is, Eugene, we cannot keep blaming the previous regime. Once you elect a government or have a government in office, they have to act. They have to do their best to ensure that the common citizen has their most basic needs. If it's education, they have access. If it's food, they can access food cheaply or affordably, right? And now to make it worse, both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza are suffering alike. There's nobody, apart from the political class, who can actually say life is good on their side.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe Mushiri, you can tell us, or the Kenyans generally, some of the austerity measures that actually this government has taken as a steps to ensure that we are actually reducing the cost of living.
Yes, actually I'll begin with they are trying to correct the systemic policies of the previous regime. I will repeat that because government is about continuity. You understand? And if there are some policies that were not favoring, or were not favoring, or they were not favoring the common man, they have to be corrected. And that's where we begin. We're beginning by establishing the problem and by working to solve the problem. So at this point, like I've said and I'll repeat again, the issue of cost of living is about the cost of living. And the cost of, when we talk about the cost of living, we are talking about the commodities, the food, the hunger, like he has mentioned, the gas, the hunger, the gas, and the sugar and everything. And we have to appreciate and understand that all these things, the prices of these commodities are skyrocketing because of the cost of production. And the cost of production of this, of these really farm products. But when the government comes in and start to subsidize on production, making sure the farmer in the village is getting fertilizer at cheaper prices. You understand? Making sure the extension officers that they'll give advice to the farmers and what type of plant and what to do. In due time, the unga, which you are saying right now, my brother is saying it's to 70. I don't know where he shops. It depends. If you go to, if you shop at these big supermarkets, it's to 50. But as the common wananchi, it is still 170. But it's not neither here or there. So the thing is, if you subsidize on production, the farmer, if the cost of if the cost of producing these food products is reduced, the cost of this food product will be reduced. It's common sense. You understand? And that's why we are moving out from the subsidizing on consumption that was there in the past, where we are going, where we are having a boardroom, we are calling all the mirrors, all the billionaires in one room, we are telling them, let us give you some funds so that you can reduce the cost of the cost of the hunger and what have you. Okay. You understand?
Yes. And Owadi, maybe you have something to say.
Yes, I have several things, but I'd keep it short. And there are more or less like questions. One, is our tax rate high or low currently? Two, have we taken in more loans or we've gone back? to fewer loans. The number 3 issue would be, what's the status of our devolution currently? You know, if our government is continuous or you need to maintain continuity, then that means if you're supposed to give counties 30% in the last regime, you should maintain the same. Currently, as we speak, some counties have not been given money. They cannot even pay nurses, doctors. Services are paralyzed at county level. Okay. Then the 4th issue would be, my friend talked about having these austerity measures, including fertilizers. But you see, the truth is, or even extension officers, the truth is, I'm sure from where he sits, he cannot give any statistics or the number of people who actually benefited from these fertilizers, or give us statistics on the number of extension officers that we have. If anything, if you give me fertilizer and then you don't give me maize seeds or whatever seeds, because you are subsidizing production. If you give me fertilizer without seeds, how am I going to plant them? Or what will I plant? I can't eat fertilizer. So if you're subsidizing, let's make sure you subsidize everything. Okay? I'll keep it. That's short.
Okay. What is raising a very critical question.
But I will answer him one thing. I'll tell him about the seeds. And CPB does that work. Maybe I not mentioned, but all the farmers are getting seeds and the certified seeds. You understand? And not just that. The government has intention of building aggregation centers in every county, meaning that the chain of production will be streamlined, meaning that the farmer can produce his goods and have an aggregated area, a central place where he can sell his products, and if they are perishable, they will have cold rooms. So these are austerity measures that are being set in place to make sure that
mention something.
Yes. And about tax. No, let me finish. And about tax, you had mentioned how are the tax. So have we increased? That is the question he asked. So I would ask him, have we increased compared to where? Where were we and what has been increased? Maybe
we're coming back to that discussion because there's also raising a very critical question of the state of the devolution generally. The other time, the governors, some of them were actually wanted to shut down the county activities. Because we're coming back, but we're taking a very quick short break, and we are going to come back to this conversation in a jiffy.
I want to start by telling you a story about a young girl who was in a secondary school in a rural part of Kenya. What is it that you know that you have that God has given it to you? What is it that you know that you want to contribute to society in? What is it that you are so scared to tell people around you because you know they're going to frown on you? But you, I know, imagine it during your time, your free time, your dream time. Dream those dreams, young people. See those visions, young people. Be who God has created you to be.
Even you as moving around the world and meeting people, it creates a new vision that other people cannot be able to understand until they enter into that position where they can be able to see the world in a different platform.
Young people, we should allow young people to tell us something that at our deep core, it scares us. Now, in the past, it sounded strange. COVID-19 came, guess what? It scared us to our deep core. I want to start by telling you a story about a young girl who was in a secondary school in a rural part of Kenya. What is it that you know that you have, that God has given it to you? What is it that you know that you want to contribute to society in? What is it that you are so scared to tell people around you because you know they're going to frown on you? But you, I know, imagine it during your time, your free time, your dream time. Dream those dreams, young people. See those visions, young people. Be who God has created you to be.
Even you as moving around the world and meeting people, it creates a new vision that other people cannot be able to understand until they enter into that position where they can be able to see the world in a different platform.
Young people, we should allow young people to tell us something that at our deep core, it scares us. Now, in the past, it sounded strange. COVID-19 came, guess what? It scared us to our deep core. Yeah.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to this live broadcast. 21144 is our SMS line, and of course we are here with the third guest, Jeff Kuria. Wesley Jeff is joining us here, and of course he's a lawyer as well. And Wesley Jeff, I believe that you are following the discussion, and kindly if you can tell us about, we're talking about the cost of living, which was a very key component in the campaign of President William Ruto. There are other issues that actually have been raised by Wakil Wade. What do you make of this?
Well, first of all, to begin with, thank you for inviting me to this panel. I believe it has been a minute since I was here, but I am glad to be back. Now, on to your question about the cost of living, it is quite true that the cost of living has gone up. But this is not a William Ruto thing. And that is the first thing that people need to understand, that this is not a President William Ruto thing. Regardless of who would have been elected during the 9th of August elections 2022, they would have still come into the same problems. And now, this speaks to the hypocrisy that exists in this country. Because people will want to lump blame on one man, yet the whole economy is suffering. If you have been following global politics, you will see that the UK have also been protesting over the cost of living. The dollar is in a crisis itself. They are facing shutdowns of banks. They are facing financial crisis that their own Congress and their own Senate is finding problems to address. So now to come and assume that the problems we are experiencing are only attributed to one man is simply a fallacy and an inacceptance of actual situation. But we will not shy away from the fact that cost of living is actually high. And you asked a valid question about taxation. You said, are we overtaxed? We are not, as a country. I am not saying that it is a good thing. Nobody wants to dig deeper into their pocket. But you look around our global competitors or regional competitors, we're the least taxed. We are among the African superpowers in terms of finances and how our growth rate as a
Personally,
country.
in a scale of 1 to 10, in actually ensuring that the cost of living has been reduced, how will you rate?
I would say a 5. I would say a 5. And this is coming from a person who was in the Kenya Kwanza campaign trail as a youth representative through my party, the Service Party, of course. And I can tell you for sure, the reason why I'm giving them a 5 is because there is massive room for improvement. We're only 7-8 months in after the election. You cannot judge a government that has toddler feet. This is the situation that we're in. This government was elected in August. They have not. This is the time they are reading their first finance budget. We should judge them based off their recommendations.
There's also an issue that was raised actually in the state of the devolution. I believe that you have seen that the governors, some of them actually want to shut down the activities of the county. What do you make of it?
This one, it's a reality. I can't escape it. And the problem is we're trying to detangle problems while they emanate from the same problem pool, which is we are a broke country. Right now, the financial expert and forensic expert have warned that we might go into debt crisis. And that is not a consequence of William Ruto. This is a problem of an administration that was careless in its spending. An administration that will withdraw 26 billion during the last minutes of its administration, then you come and claim that it is William Ruto who brings the problem. It is absolutely
Let me come to Wakiliwade. Wakiliwade, maybe what do you make of this? He says that yes, there's a problem that Kenyans are actually broke. The country is broke, but this is not an issue that was caused by President William Ruto. It was the issue of the other regime that was there before the current regime.
No, get me correctly. Don't say the other regime. I said this is a global problem. I don't want to say the other regime. I am saying,
but actually that is what we have had being talked about in the media.
Yes, carelessness of the previous regime.
Talked about it severally.
Yes,
that this issue has been caused by the
Kenya's situation has been aggravated by the previous regime, but not entirely caused.
What do you make of this award?
Well, thank you, Eugene. I'll address maybe the question of tax will come later. But first off, I appreciate the fact that the cost of living is both influenced by internal and external factors. And as he said, the value of the dollar has gone up. Again, when we look at what the government has done and why he would pose the question, we should not judge a government within 7 or 8 months because it's still a toddler government. But all of us, I believe, know the methali, samaki mkunza ngali mbichi. That means whatever you do within the first 7 or 8 months should be enough to show us the direction with which the government will take. Now, one of the internal factors that affect the cost of living is government policy. Now, what has this government shown us within 7 to 8 months? One, appointments, not based on merit, but political, when we are giving back political goods. Two, we have wastage in government. That means it's affecting our current expenditure. How? Instead of appointing the accepted 20-something, how many are there? The 20-something CAS, we're appointing over 50. And even the Public Service Commission said, no, you can't do that. The courts have said, no, you can't do that. It has an effect on our recurrent expenditure, right? Corruption is there. We're seeing corruption. Even the other day, we now have another scandal. Within the first 7 to 8 months, this government has borrowed a lot of money. Yes.
Okay. Let me come to you, Teddy Mushiru. Actually, you have raised very pertinent questions about the political appointments and, of course, the KEMSA scandal, of course, corruption, which we're also going to look into much later. But I want us to delve into this issue a bit about the finance bill. The finance bill, actually, 2023, was to provide solutions to the Kenyans, actually, to the issues that and the challenges that are facing Kenya economically. But actually, that is actually what the president believes, and the entirely most, if you listen to most of the leaders from UDA, that is what they believe, Kenya Kwanza. The opposition and even some other Kenyans think that actually this finance bill 2023 is certainly not the solution. What do you make of it?
First, all of us must appreciate the situation we are in at this moment. And for us to get out of the situation we are in, we have to make tough decisions. And some of the tough decisions have been really have been really put on the finance bill. About this, I know some people are arguing about the 3% and what tax, but these are the tough issues. These are the tough decisions that have to be made, so that at least we can deal with the problem at hand. So I'm sure at this point it's about opinion. It's about opinion. It's a matter of opinion. Some people might say it's not, but there's no clear way about the way you can go about this. But because if you ask Azimio or the other people, they will say this is very tough. It's tough on the people, but now they also want us to have solution on the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jeff, you look at this finance bill 2023, and actually Cherargei says that should this finance bill not pass, then it will paralyze the functioning generally of the government. So we need to actually pass it. But again, on the other side, as a new leader, that is Raila Odinga, says that no, this is not right and is not in line with what actually Kenyans will. How will Kenyans reap in this? A question that they're asking. And that is why I'm asking you tonight. What will Kenyans reap from this finance bill?
First of all, every government walks into leadership or governance with its own policies and its own direction. This is the reflection of where the finance bill is. Because, again, I keep on going back to the issues. Regardless of who was president, who became president after the election, these are issues they would have had to confront. This is not a William Ruto problem. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because I recently attended a governance training. And one of the things that we were taught there, the first thing you were taught is that you should not make vague statements. For example, the finance bill is clear in its recommendations, it's clear in its direction, it is clear in the path that the government wants to take. Now, Azimio leaders will come out and say that this finance bill is punitive and taxative to the common wananchi. Is it true that it is raising taxes here and there? It is true. And like I said, as the common wananchi, you don't want to hear that you're digging deeper into your pocket. But the problem I have with the opposition is one and very simple, is that they make very vague statements. They're telling us that it is overly taxative. I have not seen an alternative bill in Parliament where they have MPs, because they're the minority party. They should bring alternative governance measures or governance policies to challenge what that is being offered there. Because if right now, just let me finish. Yes. If today we were to make a question to the opposition right now, and we tell them, okay, fine, we are doing away with the finance bill, give us your alternatives, then we'll go quiet. Because their issue is not to actually constructively criticize the government. Their issue is to always derail the government.
Okay.
And that is the problem I have with them. Because, for example, when you look at that finance bill, it is true that the government has found new tax areas and tax revenues. But I have said, according to our competitors within the African continent, we are not as taxed as we should be. You compare our taxation rate and our GDP rate, it is incongruent to what our competitors are doing. Look at people we are competing with economy-wise. Look at South Africa. Look at Egypt. Look at people like Morocco. Their taxation is clear and cut. So right now, President William Ruto is taking the hard decision. And actually, let me say this. I don't envy President William Ruto. I supported him and I campaigned for him a lot. But he campaigned to only come and find a problem that he did not cause.
Okay, I get your point. My question is, when you talk about vague statements, what do you mean?
I mean something like, the opposition leader will come out and say that this government inafinyilia mwananchi because of alluding to what? The finance bill.
Okay.
I have not seen their faction table something alternative to say, instead of raising tax here.
I've heard you. And let us talk about also President Ruto's promise on levy and fuel tax. Before I give you a chance, because he spoke about the fuel and actually the levy on fuel and gas prices. He talked about fuel levy before when he was campaigning, and he said that the former regime actually did not understand the kind of the problems they were bringing to Kenyans by actually continually increasing the tax levy, fuel levy on fuels, which was of course getting to increase the high cost of living. Well, another issue is on gases. The other time, President Ruto had promised that I will increase, he will actually reduce the cost of gas. and of course later on he changed it and said it was Mtungia gases, that is the gas cylinders. And someone was asking that how is it possible that you, because no one goes to the gas station to ask for gas cylinders. Now, if you talk about vague statement, is that a vague statement?
Let me tell you, during the campaign period, we understand, and this is not something new that is coming up. You campaign in promises and you govern in prose. Because now when you sit, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Because the theme I am seeing, even in the media, and this is a very fifth or fourth estate? You know yourselves. It's the fourth estate's duty to take responsibility and be very, very, very a middleman, not partial to one side. Okay. The reason why I'm saying this is because, and I will tell you, because there are very many things that are being pointed out. Like you said, the gas situation. He explained clearly, because that what was taken was the Mtungia gas statement. He explained that the only reason that gas has not gone down now is because his subsidiary budget application did not pass.
Okay.
Why is that statement not being taken?
Okay. Actually, I have so many questions to you, but let me give you a chance.
Bring them on.
Yes. Delve into this issue, kindly.
Yes, Eugene, I'd just literally pick up from where he left. Of course, heavy is the head that carries the crown. But whom does the buck stop with? If things fail today in Kenya, whom does the buck stop with? It's the president. Again, you said that this is not a President William Ruto problem. But I want to remind you that the head of state is President William Ruto. The head of the opposition is Raila Odinga, right? In case you need to critique a government bill, it must not necessarily come from an opposition as a political party. We have policy experts, we have finance experts, we have MPs in parliament. My friend, you said my friend, of course, would address some of these issues. But as a fellow learned person, he knows. He knows that this bill, if it's tabled before parliament, it has to go through debate. Has it been debated upon? No. It hasn't. So why would you ask us why or whether the opposition by now should have tabled an alternative bill? If you understand the standing orders of parliament, you'd know these guys take a bill, it's taken to the floor of the parliament, goes through a committee, the committee then subjects it through public participation. So even right now, we are still discussing this thing in the public forum. It has not been brought to us. Okay? So up to now, even if the opposition were to do so, on what ground would they do it? It has to be debated on the floor of parliament. The other issue, Eugene, is this.
Yes.
Of course, I've talked about the public participation. We are looking at a government that wants to bulldoze a finance bill that has a very serious impact. Let us go for consultation. I'd go for consultation, consult the common Mwananchi. Let's get what the Mwananchi wants. The opposition, of course, should also start thinking about alternative policy proposals as the opposition, okay? Just to touch on something before I cut it off. Initially, we talked about external factors, and in this case, we need to look at the impact of these institutions, what we call Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, World Bank. They're to give us loans. But whatever policies they come up with definitely impact on our cost of living because and our GDP. That's why we're talking about tax this one more, tax wigs, tax mobile phones, now tax influencers. You know, we are broadening the tax base. Why? Because most of these policies emerge from these foreign financial institutions. They've had an impact back then in, when was it, 1990? When we had the structural adjustment programs during President Moi's tenure. It affected us, the public service, many people lost their jobs. Okay? Our economy didn't grow as such. We even imported maize from Mexico. When I was growing up, we were told that the yellow maize is used to feed cattle in Brazil and Mexico. I don't know how true that is, but that is where we were. Let us not go back there. Consult the common person.
Okay.
Yes.
And actually, Mushiri knew, and there is actually a very critical issue that Wakili Wade had raised back. He was talking about political appointments. He talked about one of the signs that this government has actually given to show that it is a non-performing government is on the political appointments. And actually today, President Ruto had actually revoked some of the appointments of the previous regime, of course, on some of the state on state appointments. And actually this actually leads to a very critical question, which actually even the president was asked when he was facing the media a week ago, and that is on his appointments. Are they based on merit, which is meritocracy generally, or are they based on loyalty? From where you sit?
Actually, I would say this. First, I'll start by saying this: politics is a game of interest. And when you go hunting, and you have your generals and you have your foot soldiers, when you go hunting, and you get a good enterope. So you have to sit down. You don't go and look for other people. First you make sure your general has something. That's factual, and that's the reality. We can try to we can try to sugarcoat any other way, but that's the truth. You understand? And also, this also speaks to the whatever was going on about the politics of betrayal. And we have to understand the president has been very categorical that, and he has known, one of the things he has known with his standing with his people. But that being said, he has also said this and he has come out very strongly. In matters resources of the country, if something goes wrong, he'll take personal responsibility. And by taking personal responsibility means, it means this: if you're given a docket, and you go, you do your own things, and your grid becomes big, so big, and you want to get money from your docket, you will be sacked. And that's what has happened. And I also remember very well during the PSS appointment, he was very categorical. He said kuna watu wamepata kazi na ndio tutaona kama kuna watu wamepata kazi ama kuna watu kazi imepata. But the thing on this appointment, even if you're in UDA, you're in Kenya Kwanza, you are, as far as you meet the minimum qualification, at least you can be appointed. Either you, the question is, if you deliver or you don't deliver is a question of another day. And that will determine if you'll continue working or you'll be dismissed, like the KEMSA CEO and the board.
Don't you think, Mushiri, that overemphasis on what we call political loyalty and allegiance over meritocracy will actually lead to favoritism, where we reward people based on their political allegiance, and this actually breeds public distrust on actually the public officials, which may lead as well to to what we're now even seeing in the KEMSA scandal, what is known as the KEMSA scandal, where public resources actually are misused. Is this the case? Right now?
No, actually, to answer your question is, what is the alternative to this? Do we go and look? Do we go and start vetting Azimio people? Azimio people, they don't know our agenda. They don't know our policies. We have to stick with the people who formulated these policies, and we have to understand, in forming government, you have to go to speak to you have to go outside and tell the people and send your messaging and telling them your policies and whatever you are going to do. And for you to have people to implement these policies and agendas, you have to have people that were with you in the campaign trail, and they want to understand the policies. You understand the policies and the whatever you expect from your government. You're going to get people from Azimio. Azimio, actually, when they were in the campaign trail, apart from selling TB and Tiarara, I never heard them speaking about anything about development. And that's the fact. So we don't want the TB in the government. Let them focus in Mandamano, where they are doing.
Yes, sir. Let me just ask Wakili, because when we talk about political appointments, this is an issue that even the Deputy President has spoken about unequivocally, and said that political appointments, state jobs, are for those people who are with them. He has mentioned that times without number. But do you think that this is what we're now experiencing in the KEMSA scandal is the beginning of the mother of all scandals that we are yet to experience with such notion of rewarding our people?
again, Bwana Eugene, we have to accept that every market has a man. First things first. I want to adapt and associate myself with the sentiment of my brother here. That when you go out to hunt, you don't go looking for the neighbors who are seated who are at home waiting so that you can share the same hunt you went out for. So what I also associate myself with what Deputy President Rigiji says. It is just that Rigiji says it as it is and people are not used to that. And I will tell you this, about meritocracy and political appointments. The mistake that a lot of Kenyans make is assuming that political appointments are not merit-based. And I'll give you an example of some people. One, you look at somebody like C.S. Moses Kuria. We have known him constantly for being a maverick of politics, an exciter of crowds. But it is because as an electorate, that is what we demanded of him to be. We want to hear him speak so that he can make us laugh, so that he can make us our day in the news. But when push came to shove, it was realized that before he entered politics, he was a staunch professional abroad, and he has brought that same knowledge in his docket. And I want to mention this. I like to advise and talk to people and tell them, adopt things in reality. Because a government is not a whole. A government is made of parts. Because we are not talking about what William Ruto has done correctly. Because personally, like myself, and you will allow me to bring this up, when we were campaigning as the youth wing of Kenya Kwanza, I personally fronted a proposal called LLROP program. That is the Local Labor Resourcing Opportunities Program. That every local unit of government sources local labor so that the economy of that small local unit of government circulates within the same youth of those people. And I am happy to see that that is something that the Kenya Kwanza government has taken seriously. As much as we are in Kenya Kwanza and the executive is still UDA for all purposes of clarity, they have listened to the youth charter we signed. You look at also recently, when the president constituted the Educational Working Committee, we were in Taifa Hall in UON, presenting that same motion that the constitution of health needs to be reworked so that it can accommodate more people, increase funds, and help those people who have been left out as a result of limited funds. And you have seen the president recently has adopted a new model of health. These are the things that I'm saying. You cannot say that, yes, the cost of living is the main topic. But there are other things that the government is showing that, as my brother here, Wakili, said, that a government needs to show intent, even in 7 months. They have shown intent. They have shown goodwill. And as per the KEMSA scandal, you have seen as soon as there was a scandal, he has gotten rid of the board.
Okay. Sir, you have heard about...
I can add on something.
Yes.
And as we speak on this matter, let's, as we say that the president is appointing his cronies, the people they were hunting. Let's not forget our competitors. They are appointing their sons and their daughter. So at least at this point, let's be clear. And I don't know Azimio if they would want to join that discussion.
Okay. Wadi, maybe you can wade into this.
Let me begin by this.
And actually also to ask you, because on the issue of KEMSA scandal, when he has mentioned that the president came in and actually there's some people who are fired, and one of them was PS Buru. But this has caused more public uproar. That there is certainly something behind the pieces being fired. What do you make of this?
Well, Eugene, I wanted to begin from this point that under our new constitution, there's something we call inclusivity or inclusion, as many people love to call it. Inclusion means in this table, if we have a Kalenjin here, we have a Luo here, we have a Kamba here, we have a Meru, okay? And this inclusion is both actual and perceived. And the perception is this. Lately we've seen political appointees, both to boards and to parastatals, and even as cabinet secretaries, or guys in county governments, all right? Most of these people, as we've seen in social media and newspapers, most of them come from a particular area of this country. And that's the perception that many common citizens have, that this government has decided to appoint their people. Of course, my brothers would say, these people cut across the board. somebody like me would say the larger chunk of these people come from a certain area, then the other chunk are the other shareholders.
But isn't that the point of shareholding?
Well, it is the point, but where is inclusivity?
Okay.
Where is the interest of the common mwananchi?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. A very significant question also in the state of the corruption,
Yes.
maybe Owade, you can also talk about it, is on the face of the Kenya Kwanza regime. And actually, if you look at it at face value, and then the opposition has mentioned this a number of times, even during that during the campaign period, that the Kenya Kwanza regime, when you look at it from the top, does not give you a Caesar's wife appeal. What do you make of this government generally, even looking from the top, because they have been implicated in various high-profile cases, including rape, corruption, murder, among other significant atrocities. Some even taken to The Hague. The cases are still there. Does it give maybe Kenyans does it make Kenyans even believe or trust that this government, the face that it gives these people, can actually fight these issues that are facing us? And one of them being the corruption, which has actually affected Kenya for quite a long time.
Eugene, to be honest, the current regime, to a large extent, does not inspire public confidence. And the reasoning is we lack inclusion, right? The second issue is this. If we look at government reports, a while back, EACC published a report, or what we call the list of shame. It was tabled in parliament. It had around 237 individuals. Are you aware that most of these individuals are in government? Two, even on social media, as we speak currently, one of the cabinet secretaries, there's a documentary on one of the cabinet secretaries on tendering or procurement issues at the county level when they were governor. Okay? There's another one who was accused.
Yes, okay. We just leave it at there.
Okay.
I've gotten your point. This government does not actually inspire public confidence.
Yes.
Mushiri.
On your question, my brother, I would say this. Actually, for all intent and purposes, the KEMSA situation has proved the commitment the president has on fighting corruption. You understand? And it is in public domain, and everybody can see. And the president has said he won't be the person who will be talking, making pronunciation on fighting corruption, but he'll be taking actions. And that's what he has done. And he has started with the CEO, the PS, and the board. And I think that has sent signals to every government appointee on what awaits him or her if he engages in matters corruption. That being said, actually, I want to say this about the perception, and everything. We also know the past regime. There was a criminal. There was a criminal. No, my brother, you are having. No, give me time. No, let me finish my point. I will say yes. I'll say yes. No, let me just finish. But it's okay. I will defend myself. There's our Kiri will defend me perfectly.
Yes, okay.
I mean perfectly. Well, there was use of judicial criminalization of people. They are using the judicial to fight their political wars, and everybody was aware of that. So let's not use that precedence to put out a perception out there that is not here or there. Yeah.
Well, my friend, I want to tell you that the same DPP who is taking those matters to court today has been nominated to head NIS.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
No. I read it on this, but I'll say this. No. Just 1 minute. No, let me reply to you for people at home.
Because of time, kindly let us leave the discussion at that. And let me ask you. Actually, I also want you to give our parting shots. But even as we give our parting shots, let's leave it at that. Wakili, we are talking about the current state of politics. I want us to dive a bit into the bipartisan talks, which is also quite crucial because it is happening in Kenya. And there is endless circus in Jubilee Party. The other week we saw Jeremiah Kioni, who had suspended Kanini Kega and Sabina Chege. Today we actually see Kanini Kega suspending David Murathe and Kioni from the party. Don't you think this is derailing talks between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza?
Jubilee is not Azimio.
Yes.
You see now, the bipartisan talks, first of all, we know the construction of how the bipartisan talks emerged. It was maandamano forced their hand, bipartisan talks. Whatever you call it, we know where the intent came from. Now, Jubilee is a constituent of Azimio. Jubilee is the second largest party in Azimio. But in their internal wrangles, they have already expressed their interest to leave Azimio. And you see, parties are run by the party organs and the people elected under that party. Those are the people who contribute, those are the people who sit in parliament, those are the people who vote. So if the members of Jubilee Party have said we want to be in Kenya Kwanza, then who are you to refuse them their democratic right to leave? And they have outrightly expressed their intent to leave.
Okay.
That is why I'm saying it is very important in this country we operate politics in a very candid way.
Okay.
Because most of us like to take one position and be hypocritical about the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give your closing remarks even as you come to the end of this discussion?
Well,
in 2 seconds.
thank you so much for this privilege to be on this panel. I want to speak about three or four issues broadly.
Not broadly,
It will be very brief.
Yeah, okay.
Well, from where I sit, let us not kill our constitutional democracy. Very many people fought for it. Let us not kill multi-party democracy through sabotage. Let us ensure that we promote inclusion. Let us have the common interest of every citizen in all the government policy that we have. May the government be rational enough in what they promise and what they deliver.
Okay.
That is where I leave
Okay,
it. Thank you.
you give your parting shot even as you come to the end of this show.
Mine, I'll say let's all of us, the opposition, we support the government of the day, because when the government of the day succeeds, it will impact on the person, on the common mwananchi and the person at home. Okay. And we actually appreciate them not going for maandamano for those 2 weeks, and we hope it will be the norm.
Okay.
Yes, and they can exercise the opposition politics in the house, in the floor of the parliament. Yes.
Okay. Today, so Babu Owino greeting the president, and there was an ecstatic moment. But anyway,
Of course,
thank you so much.
To beat the president.
Yeah, the president
Regardless of who you are.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for this conversation. I'm so grateful you sparing time and coming for this conversation. And of course, to our viewers, we are so grateful for you finding time to follow us on this broadcast. My name is Eugene Ochieng Kwach, and of course, on behalf of everyone who has made this successful, we are grateful and we wish you a very good night. To the Bwanda before is our SMS line. You continue engaging with us, and of course, at GBS TV Africa is through the socials. You will get us. Thank you so much and have a good night.